got this.
All right, everybody, getting back on this door from last night. I've got this piece all trimmed out. It's ready to go on. And then I'm going to start tacking up here. Come all the way down and get this whole thing buzzed in. It's going to take a little while because it's a little bit wonky, but it's going to look really nice when it's done. So here we go. Hang on. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, kitty cats. Say hi to Jade. Hi, Jade. Guys, I'm so excited to get started today. Heading up to the shop. I think we're going to actually finish the floor today. I think the angels start singing and the music will start playing. Been fighting with this for about 3 weeks, so it'll be good to get the floor finished, so we can get up here and start doing the fun stuff like suicide doors and extra cool seats, all kinds of stuff we got planned for it. So let's get in here to the shop and get after it. All right, everybody, I know this is going to be a little bit shaky because I'm handheld, but I wanted to kind of get you guys in what we were doing. So we've got everything ready here to weld. I need to get another tack strip in here because I got a hole that's showing there, and we need to support this here on the front side. The technical part of this is we've got a gas pedal that needs to set. If you put it in the little pulley there, it needs to sit right in the middle of that beam right there. So I've got to do a little reverse engineering and cut this piece out where I got a little overzealous. So I'll cut this little piece out, and then on the underside of the floor, you got to have the bolts on the floor pan that catch these holes. Then we've got to line this up over here a little bit better than we did on the other side because we spent a lot of time on the grinder. We got to lay another patch right in here, or we'll probably just offset our tacks here, and then we've got the fender. So come around here, air box holes. So we're going to get our measurements. So we're going to have 38.5 by 38 3/4. Fellas, I'm not even breaking the grinder out on this one. It's straight to the plastic cutter. I ain't gonna waste no time today. The compressor inside the shop is loud. I understand that. I have a very nice compressor outside the shop. The only issue with that is the compressor and my welder and my plasma cutter are both on the same circuit, so if they come on the same time, they throw. I need to wire a plug in over here so they're on separate circuits, but we're in the middle of this, so we're going to keep trucking. It's a lot more fun playing with a plasma cutter than it is with a wire. What I'm trying to do here is to get this piece completely square. So I'm measuring it to make sure that it fits in the hole and it's up to the point all the way up under the dash on the driver's side and touching the side of the door jamb. That way, whenever we make our cuts and we square everything up, we'll be able to scribe the line all the way down the door jamb that you're going to see coming up. And then we can also push it over into the door. Once we get it pushed over into the door and slid up on the doghouse, we can then come back around and trace it. So that's why I'm taking so much time here to get it perfectly square so that whenever we make all of our cuts, it drops in perfect. So you have to take time on the front end to make sure that it's right so that when you make your cuts, it drops in on the back end. You come over here to this measurement. You got, this is where it's going to be where we need to be over here. It's 3 3/4 of an inch. So 3 3/4 of an inch plus an extra 1/2 inch is 4 1/4. So we're going to offset 4 1/4 and do our scribe line. So I need something that's 4 1/4 long that I can use to scribe with. So I'm going to go line that up, and when I come back, I'm going to get this scribed. We'll get it cut. So we got our cut made. As long as we stay on the outside of this wicked little line, this should slide all the way over here and seat. So we're gonna go cut it out and see. I know this looks a little awkward, but all we gotta do is stay plasma cutter. We're gonna come up here at the very edge, pop out, follow this outside edge all the way down, and it should be a perfect match for what we cut out of that door. So let's see if it works. to take a little bit more out of this corner here. Then she should lay right in, hopefully. We'll see. Well, we're really good here. Our seams right there are perfect. Need to do a little bit of cleanup over here to get it to lay a little bit flatter, but got a little bit of a goof up here. I don't know where that came from, but we'll get that lined out, and then everything else looks really good. So I think we're gonna do a little bit of cleanup, get this thing laying a little flatter, and then we'll work on getting that doghouse cut out. And then we'll be ready to move on to the next thing. That's about how it's gonna look, but I'm gonna go ahead and, instead of this little swoop here in the doghouse, I'm gonna take it straight. I'm gonna figure out what this distance is from here to here. I'm gonna match it in this curve and just draw a straight line. See how it works out. All right, everybody, got to tell you, that turned out perfect. So we're all the way in on our seam here. Come up here and you can look at where we're up against the doghouse. Perfect seam against the doghouse. Right against where that old floor was. We'll be able to tack that in, no problem. That corner over there turned out really nice. All the way up to there. So we got to do a little bit more work on the subfloor, but all in all, if you use that tip of setting the whole oversized piece in and then scribing your lines, man, it sure does turn out nice. So on to the next part, which would be marking the holes on the bottom side and laying the template in for the shifter. So progress. All right, so back down here, we're getting ready to do the holes in the floor, and we've got this cut to fit. It's sitting right where it's going to sit. So now we're going to go back to our template that we cut from the old cab, the donor cab. So right now we're going to have a bare floor, and we have no idea where to put this thing back. So before we chunk this, we're going to do a little measuring. We know we have a known point here where these bolts mount up, so we can take that and so that's 4 inches to the edge of the plate where it bolts on. That bolt hole lines up with that plate. So from the center of that hole, it's 4 inches. And then from the back of the cab, it's 5 inches. Yeah, looky there. Done got us a template. If we take a measurement right here and we come over 4 inches right here and up 5 inches, and we line that hole up right there, then with the template we made, every one of our holes line up perfect. It's 4 inches off the center of the hole, center of the bolt. It's 5 inches off the back right there. So, and we're square running this way and that way. So this is where our emergency brake and our low shifter hole is going to be, right here. So there's a bunch of different ways that we could do this. All right. This right here is the easiest way if you have a template. So we're going to make sure to double check our measurements again. 4 inches off the center, 5 inches to the center, and we're still good. So we're going to pull this out of the way here. All right, a little bit warbly, but that'll be a good reference. We'll have to go back and touch this little hole right here up. But for the most part, we can see where we need to do our center punches and where we're going to have to cut out for the hole. All right, now we're going to cut our hole out with this. All right, guys, I got a little overzealous when I was drilling these holes. I was going to try to weld 1/4-20s on the back, but I'm going to go ahead and just use nut certs. They're brass. It's not like we're going to be using them a whole lot. All we're going to do is bolt everything down and call it good. So we'll weld the ones on the back over here that have a lot of pressure on them. They have an under piece that bolts in and pins to the floor. So all this does is hold the little rubber piece from getting the animals in the water up in the floor. So we're going to stick with this. Should work out really good. Let's see how we did. Spread these out just a little bit tight. Not that big of a deal. Just gotta add a little bit of wiggle room. It's a good thing about doing custom work. You can make everything fit. Took a little bit of finagling, but we got it in there. Need to do a little bit of adjustment here. I guess the old cab and the new cab didn't really fit up right, so have to do a little bit of finagling, but for the most part, we'll be ready to cut these other 2 holes, flip it over, and work on the other holes. So we'll just keep working. Well, howdy, I love it when a plan comes together. That laid in there just like it's supposed to. Yep. Everything's going to fit just right. A little bit of silicone on that plate. And she's going to lay right down there where she needs to. Well, that's good news. Now we can move on to the bottom side. Get them, and well, we're going to be cooking with gas. All right, guys. I went ahead and cleaned the back side of this up and drilled these 2 big holes. Don't want to bore you with that. This is where your wires go in for the emergency brake and the low gear selector. Now I'm going to go ahead and get these bolts here that we spray painted through. This one. Then we've got the 3 up here. 1, 2, 3 for the to hold up the inner fender on the back side. So these all transferred really good, but we're missing one. I used the spray paint technique like I showed you before on these. I got this one and this one, but I'm missing the one closest here. So I'll do the old Pythagorean tape measure method to make sure we get it in the right spot, and then we'll come over here and drill these out, and we'll be ready to set this sucker in and get ready to start drilling the holes around the outside for the rosette welds. All right, I have all the holes drilled that we're going to need. I'm going to throw it in there and put in the comments if you guys think it's going to fit without me having to do a bunch of finagling. I don't ever think it's going to go like I think it's going to go, so I'm going to put in the comments if it was me that he's going to have to do some drilling or some adjusting. But go down in the comments and tell me what you guys think. Is it going to fit first drop? All right, guys, we got it dropped in there, and I'm pretty happy with the results. We got most of our holes lined straight up. We're going to have to adjust just a little bit, but these three up here are dead perfect. So the ones for to hold the inner fender up, they're perfect. This is in the right spot. It's perfect. And then these three holes here need a little bit of adjustment, but they're close enough because they're just pass-throughs for the air box. So all in all, perfect. I'm going to go build some, I've got one of these fender pass-through bolts. I think I covered it in an earlier episode, but I'm going to go ahead and make a couple more so we can get this welded in. So I'm going to get started on that. Okay, I only have one of the fender bolts that go down in the top of the floor that hold the inner fender up. So I went and picked up 3 of these because I didn't want to have one and then 2 and have to have 2 different wrenches to take a bolt off. There's a special place in hell for people that do that to mechanics, and I'm not going to be one of them. So I'm going to chuck these up in the lathe, turn them down into the into those bolts that set flush. So I'll let you guys see what that looks like. We go 3 brand new inner fender bolts that weld into the floor. Let's go put them on. Okay, so after going to the lathe and building these 3 little bolts, they fit perfect. They're all the same nut size as the normal ones or the stock ones. We got the 3 nuts into the air box. So 1, 2, 3 of those are lined up. We know that our emergency brake and our shifter's in the right spot. So the last thing we got left to do is right over here, the gas pedal. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set it up here. Needs to be about there. I know there's a beam underneath here that's in line with the back side of this. So it's going to need to be up something like that to get into the middle of the floor. It needs to be right about there. So we've had pretty good luck today, so I think we're just going to set that sucker in there, make a couple of marks, drill a couple of holes, and see if our luck holds out. I had a manager once, or a friend of mine once said, hope is not a strategy, that we're going to measure twice, cut once, and it should land in the right spot. All right, let's see where we landed there. I think we can make those 2 work, make them a little bit bigger so when we drill, weld the nuts on the bottom of the floor pan, they'll have plenty of room. So I'll drill those out, weld the nuts on the back of the floor pan, and we will get this thing done. You ever have one of those days when nothing goes right? Everything you do and touch is just completely wrong. Well, this is one of those. Okay, got the hose drilled for the gas pedal, got the gas pedal in. Fixing to turn on the welder, get these buzzed in so we can get one step closer to being done with this daggone floor. Of course, I'm gonna plug the welder in. They seem to weld better when they've got power. There we go. I bet you'll cook now. All right, we got gas. Oh, welding hood would be nice. My wife was out here. She'd say, "Dang, you're needy." All right, I think we're ready to kick the tires and light the fire. You know, John Wayne said it best, life is hard. And it's even harder if you're stupid. Gotta have a ground too. There we go. And to quote one of my favorite YouTubers, contact. Whew. Last thing we did was grind. All right, round two. Contact. Alrighty, them should not be going nowheres. You know, I don't know if I can use this or not, but I'd love to cut a video in here that goes hot dog, hot diggity dog. Because hot dog, does that fit? Boys, we get to start welding. Yay!
Hot dog, hot diggity dog. Now we got ears inside for cheers. Hot dog, no problem solved. Hot dog, hot diggity dog.
Well, it fits. I didn't bother you guys with the 4,000 holes that I had to drill in it. And we got it, the underside's been primered. We got weld through primer on the places where we're going to weld. We've got our wiring marked under here for our electrics. And I think we're ready to put this bad boy in. We're going to set these fender bolts in, get them bolted up. We're going to get these bolted up and get it all set down, and then we'll start tacking it in. These are our handy dandy fender bolts we made. All right, guys. We got the floor put in last night, but I didn't have the heart to grind it down and start this piece here or the trim piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all ground down. We'll take the measurements for this piece that's going to go back here. It should be fairly straightforward. We'll get it cut out and welded on, and then we'll start this little last piece of trim to help get this door a little more stable left and right. So I'm going to start grinding, and I'll pick you back up when I start making my measurements. Four and a quarter by 23.5. Hey guys, after getting these measurements, I got this cut out, but by the time I got it all welded in, I was just done. So we ran out of metal, had to go get more metal, and there's not a whole lot of video. So we're going to pick it up whenever we're putting the trim on. Thanks, guys. Guys, I really screwed up here, and we're going to be a transparent channel, so we got to trust each other. I'm not going to cut away whenever I F something up. I really screwed this up when I didn't clean behind this door where I'm needing to weld. So it's really going to look horrible. I'm having to burn the paint out and then go back and put the welds in. I've tried wire brushes. I've tried a matte gas torch. I've done everything I can to try to make it right, and it's not going to be right because I failed the plan. So I got in a hurry to get done with this, and I'm going to end up having to work twice as hard, and my welds aren't going to look nice. So it's not the end of the world, but it is what it is. So just wanted to throw that out there. I'll show you guys what we're dealing with when we get a little bit farther. I've got to use creative ways to clamp to get this thing down flat on the floor. I'm probably going to end up having to weld some bolts on like I did the last time, because I don't think I can get enough leverage to get it welded on there and get it pushed down. But we're going to give it a shot here. So y'all just bear with me. We're going to do the best we can here. I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm just about to quit for the night because everything I touch is turning into something brown and stinky. So I know you guys have been there before. You just, what did it say on Maverick? You should have retired your aircraft. You pushed a bad angle and you died. I'm pushing my bad angle here. Tell you what, guys, in a couple of weeks, me and Mama's going to go fishing. If you guys want to go along with us, let me know. If you guys like fishing and crappie fishing and stuff like that, we'll take you down there with us. You leave me some comments. We've got a couple of projects we need to work on while we're down there, but if you guys want to go catch some crappie with us, let me know. Just leave some comments down there in the comment section. We will go get after them. You, me, Mama, and the dogs. Another thing you guys might not realize, Mama is not my mama. Mama is my kid's mama. What you need to understand about us rednecks too. Mama is little mama. And grandmama is whatever the first grandkid calls grandmama. So in our case, that's Panny with a P. Panny. Panny is my mama. I know that might not make a lot of sense to folks, but it makes perfect sense to me. We are getting there, folks. That and bone in there good. Yeah, let's see. For as ugly as these is going to be, boy, them ones on that new metal sure turning out good. I don't have a choice, y'all. I'm going to have to I'm gonna have to get something to weld on here to push that down. Good news is we're not reinventing the wheel. So I'm gonna weld these boogers on there and should be able to pull this down pretty good. Yeah, that's what happened. We're all the way down now. So now we're bolted it down all the way down to the floor. So we're going to go ahead and do really pretty welds on the bottom and really crappy welds on the top. Another thing, when you're welding, if your piece isn't laying exactly flat, you'll start seeing the weld, the light of the weld coming under the backside of your piece. So when you see that stop, you need to adjust your piece down. So we're going to now we're going to weld this top piece down, and it's going to be ugly. You guys can hear that when I hit that paint, it blows out. So I know there's going to be some folks watching this that are all mad. I should have cut this whole piece out and started again because I got a little bit of trash behind the weld. Well, I'm not welding an axle together. I'm just welding a piece of trim on the floor. So after I get it welded, I'm striking while the iron's hot to make sure that it's laying flush on the top side before it cools off. Then we'll come over here and weld another piece on and pull that down. Then we'll go back and tack these all in, and then we're going to spend another 30 minutes grinding everything off because I didn't prep my weld surfaces right. See if I can get you guys in here. Oh, since this is the last one we're going to do, see if I can get you guys down on here. All right, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. This is bowed up. You can get your finger underneath it. So I welded this butt on there, put that on the back, and this has got a bend in it, so it's going to tighten up and pull that down. And put my hand over that so the bolt comes off and doesn't fly and hit me in the mouth. So that's flush. This is up a little bit, so I'm going to give it a little McLovin. Okay, so it's down. Then we're going to build it up. Yeah, that looks pretty. Pardon my French. I'm just working all that down while it's warm. So when it cools off, it'll lay nice and flat. I'll be dadgone if I didn't do work. Here now, nice and sweet that sounds. It's just buzzing and it's laying nice and flat. That's how you know you got all your settings right on your welder. Yep, that is pretty stuff. Pretty, pretty, pretty. A lot of guys will tell you grinder and paint make me the welder I ain't. But if you're not grinding your welds down and you're leaving them, it's pretty obvious that you know what you're doing. Now I can't dance with a crap, but it takes a rhythm to do this. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's buzzing as I pull out and turn a circle. I like to melt this piece and come back to this piece. Spend longer on the piece that you put in first or the bigger piece. And come back in. You can see, ain't that beautiful? All right, I'm going to say it for the last time. Actually, for the last time. I'll get you guys over here. With this piece being done, the floor's done. Anticlimactic. I'm going to have to come in here and I'm going to have to grind for about 4 hours to get this thing to where it looks halfway decent and where the floor will lay flat on it. But it's done. It's Friday. I think it's Friday night. I had to take time off from work to go get metal, but floor's done, and we can start tomorrow or whenever that next video is. I don't know when we're going to show it in the order, but the floor's done. We're going to start working on the doors, the suicide doors on the back. If you guys are getting anything out of this channel, even if it's just a chuckle or two because of my attempted comedy, make sure you guys are hitting like. Leave a comment if you think it's stupid or if you see something we could do better. Like it, share it with your friends, and we'll get after it. So I'll see you guys on the next video where we should be working on the doors. Peace.